I'm Adam, 27, and up until a few months ago, I would have told you my biggest flaw was how much I tried to keep the peace. I was the easy one, the quiet one, the one who let things slide. And for most of my life, I convinced myself that was a virtue, that being the dependable son, the unproblematic sibling, the one who never made a scene, would somehow earn me the same love I gave so freely. But nothing prepares you for the moment it clicks, the moment you realize you've been standing outside a glass house, watching your family toast inside, and your invitation was never even printed. It started small, like most things do. A forgotten thank you here, a missed phone call there. I chalked it up to busy schedules, stress, life. My parents, Linda and Greg, always doted on my younger sister, Chloe. She was the miracle baby, born after years of fertility treatments. I was 8 when she arrived, and I remember the first time I saw her in the hospital, swaddled like a burrito, my mom beaming as if the sun finally rose for the first time. From that day forward, Chloe didn't just walk into the spotlight. She was the spotlight. And I became the guy holding the flashlight. I didn't mind it at first. She was my little sister. I loved her, protected her, defended her even when she was wrong. When she crashed my first car sneaking out at 16, I lied and said I had borrowed it and hit a tree. When she dropped out of college mid-semester, I was the one who helped her fill out job applications, driving her to every interview. And when she called crying 2 years ago after a messy breakup, I drove 4 hours to pick her up, even though I had work the next morning. I was always there. So when my 27th birthday rolled around this year, I didn't expect a grand gesture. But I expected something. It was a Thursday. I had taken the day off work, more out of habit than anticipation. My phone was quiet all morning. No calls, no texts. Around noon, I checked Instagram, a bad habit, I know, and saw my sister's story from Paris. The Eiffel Tower glittering at sunset, a luxurious dinner spread, captioned, "Best birthday week ever. Thank you, Mom and Dad." My stomach sank, but I didn't let it ruin my day. Not yet. I told myself I was being sensitive. Maybe they were planning something later. Maybe I'd get a dinner invite, a surprise cake. I told myself all the things you tell yourself when you're trying not to admit the truth you already know. I waited. At 7:43 p.m., my phone buzzed. A text from Chloe. "OMG, we totally forgot. Happy late birthday." Attached was a photo of what looked like half a chocolate cake shoved in a Tupperware, with a bent plastic fork stuck in it. No candles, no note, just crumbs and the kind of casual dismissal that said more than words ever could. I stared at the screen for a full minute. Not angry, not even sad, just empty. And then I stood up, walked to the kitchen, and took the spare house key off the hook. I didn't leave a note. I didn't pack a suitcase. I just walked out the door, locking it behind me like I was sealing off a tomb. That night, they posted a group picture from Paris. My mom in a cocktail dress, my dad in a tux, Chloe holding a wine glass with a new watch gleaming on her wrist. The caption read, "Celebrating our beautiful girl in style. You deserve the world, sweetheart." Not a single mention of me. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't even text back. I just turned off my phone, opened my laptop, and booked a one-way flight. No return date. No announcement. No forwarded address. Just the silent satisfaction of doing something, anything, for myself, for once. The weeks leading up to that night had been quietly eroding me, but I hadn't seen the cracks until they collapsed. I thought back to the Christmas when I gave Chloe a MacBook for her college classes, and my parents gave me socks. Or when she forgot my birthday 3 years in a row, and they said, "She's just forgetful, don't guilt her." Or when I got promoted last fall, and they skipped my celebratory dinner because Chloe had a rough day at work and needed cheering up. But this was different. This wasn't just favoritism. This was erasure. I spent that night in a cheap airport hotel, eating takeout in silence and watching the rain streak down the window. And for the first time in my adult life, I didn't feel obligated to explain myself. Not to them, not to anyone. I wasn't trying to make them see me anymore. I was finally walking away from the spotlight I was never invited to stand under. By sunrise, my inbox had a single email from my mom. No subject, just, "Did you see Chloe's watch? We knew she'd love it. Hope you had a good day too." I closed the laptop. It wasn't rage that drove me, it was clarity. A kind of deep, calm understanding that no amount of effort, kindness, or sacrifice would ever earn me what I thought I already had, love without conditions. My flight was at 11:15 a.m. I didn't tell anyone where I was going. I didn't need to. But what happened after I left? that's where it all gets interesting. The plane landed 12 hours later in Lisbon, not because I had some grand plan or lifelong dream to live in Portugal, but because it was the cheapest one-way ticket available when I hit book. I had enough saved up from years of quiet frugality, living below my means, skipping vacations, and covering family emergencies that always seemed to conveniently fall on payday. I figured I could buy myself time, maybe a few months to just breathe, to exist without obligation or expectation. The Airbnb was modest. A narrow street view, creaky floors, and no elevator, but it was mine. For the first time in my life, I woke up in a place where no one needed anything from me. No surprise calls about broken leases, no guilt-tripping voicemails, no sudden reminders that I owe the family for everything they sacrificed. Just silence, and the sound of a city that didn't know my name, didn't need to. It took 3 days for my phone to start buzzing again, not that I turned it on right away. I sat with it in my hand, staring at the black screen, before finally letting curiosity win. 27 missed calls, 12 voicemails, and 56 unread messages. The group chat, the same one I was always conveniently left out of when the fun things were planned, was suddenly very interested in my whereabouts. Adam, are you okay? We haven't heard from you. Can someone check his apartment? Is he mad? Did someone say something? And then my personal favorite, from my mom. We didn't mean to forget. It's just that Chloe's birthday was such a big deal. You know how she gets when she's not the center of attention. We figured you'd understand. Ah yes, the eternal expectation that I would always understand. It only got worse from there. Apparently, my absence from the digital world had caused a ripple effect. My landlord emailed, saying my lease renewal was due, but my phone number was disconnected. My job back home had called twice, the last time sounding genuinely concerned. And Chloe? She posted a picture of her new watch with the caption, "Can't believe my big bro hasn't even texted to say he loves it." I stared at that one for a long time. Loves it. Not you. Not even a vague thank you. Just an assumption that once again, I'd clap from the sidelines while she basked under lights I wired myself. I didn't reply to any of them. Instead, I opened a new bank account in Lisbon, moved funds, set up a virtual mailbox, bought a prepaid SIM. Slowly, methodically, I began untangling myself from everything that tethered me to them. I didn't hate them, not exactly. I just realized how much of my identity was built around being useful to people who only remembered me when I stopped being convenient. It was almost peaceful those first few weeks. The guilt didn't hit me until day 23. I was drinking coffee on a small balcony, watching locals rush to work below, when an old man passing by glanced up and nodded. Just a simple gesture. But it was the first time in years someone acknowledged me without needing something. I blinked back sudden tears. Not sadness, grief. Grief for the life I lived trying to earn crumbs of validation, and for the part of me that still ached to be seen by people who never truly looked. The next message that came in finally broke the silence. "Chloe, you made your point. Everyone's freaking out. Mom's been crying. Dad's barely sleeping. Just come home and we can talk." I almost laughed. Now they wanted to talk. 2 hours later, I received a Venmo notification. My mom had sent me $12 with the caption, "For coffee. Please don't be dramatic." It took everything in me not to throw my phone across the room. Instead, I screenshotted it and saved it in a folder I titled Reasons, right under a photo of the half-eaten cake and the "we totally forgot" text. They still didn't get it. They thought this was a tantrum, a moment of sulking I'd eventually come crawling back from. They didn't know that something inside me had changed, something permanent. I wasn't angry anymore. I was done. The messages didn't stop, but they started to shift. Guilt gave way to annoyance. Annoyance gave way to pressure. "Adam, we need you to co-sign the loan for the cabin. It's only for a short term. Chloe's car broke down. Can you send her a little something to help? Don't let one bad birthday ruin everything." And then, the breaking point. A group selfie from a family dinner, complete with a smiling Chloe and my parents. The caption? "Family is everything." No mention of me. No seat at the table. No trace. Like I'd already been replaced. That night, I poured a glass of port wine and opened a fresh document on my laptop. I started writing something I never thought I'd have the courage to send. Not a rant. Not a scream into the void. Just a resignation. It wasn't long. It didn't need to be. But the impact? Well, that's when everything really started unraveling. The email wasn't poetic. It wasn't cruel. It didn't carry the sting I once fantasized about delivering, No cutting one-liners, no long-winded explanations of how they'd failed me. I didn't need revenge to be loud. I just needed it to be final. Subject: this is goodbye. I sat for a while before typing the first line. My fingers hovered over the keys, my reflection flickering faintly in the laptop screen as the Lisbon sun dipped lower outside. Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. Hi, Chloe. Simple, measured, detached. I wanted to say thank you, because you've finally given me something I never had growing up: clarity. I took a sip of the wine. It was strong and dry, a little bitter. Fitting. For years I've told myself that love meant sacrifice, that family meant forgiveness on repeat, that being the good son meant absorbing all the hits without flinching, so long as everyone else stayed happy. But your actions, this birthday and 100 moments before it, have made something crystal clear. You never saw me as your equal. You saw me as your safety net, your fixer, your fallback plan. I paused, heartbeat steady, strangely calm. And maybe that's my fault too. I let it happen. I trained you to expect my silence, my money, my time, without ever asking for anything in return. I made myself small so Chloe could shine. I made myself useful so I wouldn't be forgotten. And I still was. I didn't cry. Not then. But my throat tightened. I'm not angry anymore. I'm just done. I've relocated. I won't be sharing where. Not because I want to punish you, but because I need to heal, and I can't do that from within a family that forgets me until they need a bank transfer. Another pause. My finger hovered over the send button for a long time. Then I typed one last paragraph. You always said family is everything. But family isn't just blood, it's presence. It's effort. It's memory. And on the one day a year you could have chosen to remember me, you forgot. So now, I'm choosing to forget too. I didn't sign it love, Adam. Just goodbye. Then I hit send, closed the laptop, and exhaled. It took exactly 14 minutes before my phone lit up. A call from Mom. I let it ring. Then another: Dad. Decline. Chloe. Voicemail. By the time the sun disappeared, my inbox had 21 unread emails. All from them. The subject lines read like a slow descent into chaos. Adam, please don't do this. We didn't mean it that way. You're overreacting. Your sister is devastated. We're your parents. How can you be so cold? After all we did for you. That one made me snort. After all I did for them. I powered the phone off again and stepped outside. Lisbon at night was quiet in a way I didn't know I needed. No family group chats buzzing with plans I'd never be invited to. No guilt trips disguised as concern. Just the hum of a city that owed me nothing and therefore took nothing from me. The real fallout began 3 days later. I got an email from my former boss back in the States. My parents had apparently called my workplace in a panic, trying to check in since I wasn't responding. Said I might be having an episode. Claimed they were worried I was being influenced or spiraling. He was polite about it, concerned, but I could tell even he thought it was a little much. Everything okay, Adam? The email read. Just wanted to make sure this wasn't something bigger. I replied, brief and direct. Thanks for reaching out. I'm safe, healthy, and doing something for myself for once. Please don't entertain any more calls from my family. They're not entitled to updates. He never replied, but I never got another inquiry. By the following week, Chloe had posted a news story. A selfie in her car with smudged mascara, captioned, "Love hurts, especially when it's your own blood." The comments were exactly what you'd expect. OMG, what happened? Hope you're okay, babe. Ignore the haters. Family comes first. Family comes first. I reread that line 5 times. Funny how family is only summoned like a shield when they're the ones feeling abandoned. They never once asked why I left, only how I could. A few days after that, my dad emailed a scanned photo, one of me and Chloe from when we were little. I was holding her in my lap. She must have been too. I looked like I was already 40, exhausted, watchful, arms wrapped around her like a parent instead of a brother. The caption? Remember this. She always needed you. It was supposed to soften me, to remind me. But all I saw was a child learning his role too early. A boy asked to give up being seen so his sister could have every light pointed her way. I closed the photo, and I didn't reply. But what really tipped things over, what really made them spiral, was what I did next. Not to be petty, not to get revenge, but to cut the last thread. Because there was still one thing they hadn't expected. One thing they didn't know I could do. And when I did it, that's when everything shattered. I waited until the first of the month. It was strategic, not dramatic. I knew they'd feel it more that way, not just emotionally, but logistically, because for all their self-righteous love bombs and teary emails, there was one part of my family dynamic they never talked about publicly: how deeply they relied on me financially. Not just the car I bought for Chloe after her trauma gap year, or the quiet Venmo payments to cover my mom's medical bills when dad's insurance lapsed. Not even the countless short-term loans they swore they'd pay back. They never did. I mean the deeper stuff, the invisible lifelines, the utilities in my name, the family phone plan, the emergency credit card, the rent on Chloe's studio apartment, co-signed and quietly auto-deducted from my account every month. So when I said I was done, I meant it. And on the first of the month, I revoked every last thread they didn't realize was holding their lives together. Step 1. I closed the joint bank account. It had originally been opened when I was 22, after Dad claimed he couldn't get approved for a decent line of credit anymore. I was young, had good credit, and wanted to help. So I let him tie my name to it, just for a few months. 7 years later, he was still using it like his personal piggy bank. So I drained it, transferred every penny I was entitled to into a private international account, and sent the bank a notarized letter to close it. Official. Permanent. Step 2. I called the landlord. See, my parents had moved into a smaller rental last year after selling our childhood home. It was under Chloe's name, sort of, but the deposit, the emergency fund, the automatic payments, all from me. I let them pretend it was their place while quietly footing the bill. So I called the landlord and explained the situation, that I was no longer a tenant, no longer a co-signer, and would not be responsible for another dime. I gave them 30 days notice, effective immediately. The landlord didn't sound surprised. Step 3. I shut off the utilities. Electric, gas, water, Wi-Fi, all in my name, all auto-paid from my account. I canceled them systematically, leaving behind just enough time for a polite grace period, one they could have easily prepared for if they hadn't spent the last decade living in denial. The final step? The group message. It was the first time I'd spoken directly to them since I left. Just one simple note, dropped in the family thread they used to flood with filtered vacation photos and birthday selfies. Effective today, I've removed my financial support. You'll need to make arrangements for housing, utilities, and your phone plans. You're adults. Figure it out. I won't be responding to any further messages. Please consider this goodbye, again, for good this time. Then I left the chat. Within minutes, I heard the first ping, an email from Chloe. No subject line, just the words. What did you do? My power's off. 5 minutes later, another. You're ruining everything. Do you even care what this does to Mom? Then Dad. This isn't what family does. You're being spiteful. Grow up. And finally, Mom. Always the last to react. Always the one who cried foul, but never acknowledged the scoreboard. I'm sorry we forgot your birthday, but this is going too far. You're hurting all of us. But none of them said, we're sorry for years of taking you for granted. We're sorry we made you feel invisible. We're sorry we treated your generosity like an obligation. Just blame, guilt, accusation. And that only confirmed what I already knew. I'd made the right decision. Later that week, I got a call from a blocked number. I didn't answer. Then a voicemail. It was my aunt, the only extended relative I still respected. She sounded cautious. Adam, I don't want to get in the middle of anything, but I just saw Chloe's post. She says you've abandoned the family and left everyone broke. I figured there was more to the story. Just wanted you to know. I see you, and I'm proud of you. I cried for the first time in Lisbon that night. Not because I was sad, but because someone, finally, saw me. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. Her words were enough. Months passed. I found a job tutoring English online. Nothing glamorous, but it paid the bills and let me explore the city on my own terms. I rented a small studio with a balcony overlooking the tram line. I bought a secondhand bike. I made friends slowly, cautiously, for the first time without wondering if they'd eventually need something from me. And back home, the implosion was quiet but thorough. Chloe's car got repossessed. She made a TikTok crying about how some people just don't understand loyalty. And her followers, mostly strangers who knew nothing about her real life, flooded the comments with sympathy. My parents started a GoFundMe to recover from an unexpected financial crisis. They said it was due to fraudulent activity. I didn't correct them, let them lie, but the donations were pitiful, barely enough to cover 1 month of rent. Turns out, when you spend your life burning bridges, people aren't too eager to build you new ones. I never reached out, never looked back. Until one day, almost a year to the date since I left, I received a letter. A real one, handwritten, with no return address. It was from Chloe. The writing was messy, like she'd started it 100 times and finally just forced herself to finish. She said she didn't know how to apologize, but that she was trying. That she finally understood what it felt like to be forgotten, now that everyone she leaned on had stopped catching her fall. She said she was working 2 jobs and renting a room in someone's basement. That mom and dad had sold their car and moved in with grandma, who wasn't happy about it. Then she wrote one line that stuck with me. "You were never the problem. We were just comfortable making you the solution. No excuses, no begging, just that." I sat with the letter for a long time. I didn't rush to forgive her. I didn't plan to fly back or pick up the phone, but I didn't throw it away either. Because even if the door was closed, it felt like, for once, she'd finally knocked instead of barging through it expecting a welcome. As for my birthday this year, I spent it alone on a hillside overlooking the Atlantic, eating pastillas de nata and listening to street music echo from below. No cake, no text, no staged family photo, just me. And honestly, it was the best one I've ever had.